Hello there everyone, this is Miriam, holistic life coach and mind body practitioner at Pain Outside the Box. And today I'm gonna discuss what, in my opinion, is the hardest thing to overcome when it comes to healing from mind-body syndrome or TMS. What I mean is the most difficult concept to grasp and to apply. And that is, in my opinion, your own belief and your own faith, let's say, in the mind-body process, in the fact that there is nothing structurally wrong with you. Now, let me start off with a personal story that happened recently. So this winter wasn't the easiest winter for me. I'm already not, a fan of winter, and there were some stressors that accumulated for me this winter. So I developed this neck pain and upper back pain. Being trained to accept the pain, not to overreact to the pain, I didn't feel too bothered, and I did suspect it was just TMS. So in that sense, I got things right. I didn't overreact, and because I didn't overreact and I didn't get obsessed about it, I didn't get those intense TMS flare-ups, right? But the pain lingered, and especially after a climbing session, it would be a little bit worse. So much so that I started to associate it a little bit with climbing. Eventually, it got a little bit worse also after sleep, so I started unconsciously associating it a little bit with my position in bed. So all of these things were going on in the background. And anyway, I kept going with my day-to-day life. I was on holiday abroad, on a short trip abroad, and I remember it got a bit worse, especially as soon as I woke up, my neck would tighten up. And it would take a while for me to move it. I would move it very carefully. And at one point we were hiking. I had a heavy backpack on my back, and I tripped. And as soon as I tripped and I stretched my arms out so I would obviously protect my face, I got this shooting pain in the neck. The shooting pain that I also had been getting even when I sneezed. And it wasn't nice. And at that moment I thought, okay, maybe it's time for me to see someone. Maybe when I get back home, I'm gonna go to a chiropractor and see what he says. But then, just right after I had this thought, another voice popped up in my head, the coach voice, let's say. And I was like, I have all the tools possible to actually heal from TMS. If I really believe that this is just TMS, why am I thinking and doubting? Why am I considering looking for a structural explanation? If there are enough clues to indicate that this is TMS, and there were enough because, the pain was kind of associated with certain times of the day when I woke up. I never really got injured. It was persisting for some months. So there were a lot of clues. And I'm like, why am I falling into this trap? Why don't I just assume it's TMS? Why don't I just believe? And believe it or not, as from the very next day, the pain almost disappeared. 2 days later, the pain went away completely. And it's amazing. I kind of re-experienced the healing process once again, reconfirmed to myself that this really works. That all it takes sometimes is just 100% belief that there's nothing structurally wrong with you. And it is the hardest thing ever, because from our experiences, we always tend to look for a structural explanation first. Probably people with TMS have visited a lot of specialists and doctors and physios who have given them a structural reason for their pain, or they have been injured in the past. And we grow up thinking that pain, first of all, should be explained structurally, and we only seek the TMS diagnosis later on, if at all. In fact, only like 10% of people actually are willing to accept that there's a mind-body process going on. So cultivating this belief, even though you start realizing that you have TMS, even though you know you have TMS, there's a difference between consciously knowing that, yes, probably that's just TMS, but actually implementing this whole belief system, new belief system into your life. Actually going about your day without a doubt that there's nothing structurally wrong. Because we, as human beings, we tend to doubt, obviously. And I mean, doubt is part of our survival mechanism, let's say, because if we never doubted, we would never check up on certain things. We would never make sure we're really safe. So it is totally normal. But it is a pity because it's incredibly difficult to say, like, listen, this is just TMS. I am gonna let go completely of any structural explanation for the pain, and I'm just gonna believe that as from tomorrow, as from today, I can actually feel better. It's very difficult, especially if you haven't felt good in months or years. It can be, but it's all a shift in your belief system at the end of the day. And this is why sometimes people work hard on relaxation techniques, for example, like meditation, yoga, all that stuff, and they still don't get better from TMS pain. It's always usually because there's still a doubt in the structural or the inability to imagine yourself pain-free. It's like this possibility is totally foreign to some people that they can actually be pain-free. But if you believe in TMS and you know how it works, this possibility has to become real to you. You have to allow it. And this is why I always say to my clients, start by making a case for TMS. Of course, make sure it's not a serious condition, it's not a serious injury. And then allow the possibility that you can do this. And also avoid falling into the trap that so many people fall into of thinking that although they have TMS, they can't overcome it. There's something wrong with their condition. No, we are all the same. It's all in the mindset with TMS. Believe me, it's all with the mindset. And look for those instances where you're blaming the pain on something else or second doubting or wondering whether you should visit another specialist, even if you visited dozens already. If you still fall into these traps, this is probably why you haven't healed completely from TMS pain. And I just wanted to share this insight from a client that I got recently, a client who is now 90% better and who had really debilitating pain syndromes for years. And she had been on really strong medication, and now she's off this medication. And this is what she told me, and what really impressed me and even saddened me, to be honest. I'm just going to read it to you. Quote, so I told the pain specialist, so she told him that she was better and how she managed to get better through the TMS approach. And then she said, he was very happy for me and said they know about this, but because people don't respond well to such suggestions, they stick to mainstream MRI structural damage concept. They know about it. Pain specialists know about MindBody Syndrome. They know how certain states of mind can make the pain worse, how people can develop conditioned neuroplastic pain. They know about it. And the problem with this is that they give up on educating people because the majority of people are not willing to accept such an explanation for their pain. Some people are offended at the suggestion that there might be a mind-body process going on. And this is why TMS is not so popular yet. Because we are, well, by we I mean the majority of people is not ready to accept such a concept and to accept that it's his or her own belief and trust in the body that can make him or her better. It's really sad to hear because Obviously, if everyone were open to it, there would be much less chronic pain conditions around. And it's sad to hear from a pain specialist who would be kind of aware of what's going on, but he or she has decided that it's pointless trying to educate the patient. But I can totally understand where the pain specialist is coming from, because I would totally understand that even just, the suggestion to someone who might find this offensive could actually damage his or her reputation, because, someone who feels offended at the suggestion that her pain might be MindBody Syndrome might go around, tell other people, what a load of bullshit this pain specialist has come up with, and it can be damaging for his or her reputation. So I can totally understand this. And as I always say, the world is not ready for TMS yet. Anyone out there who is looking into TMS and applying the approach is, far more way ahead than 90% or more of the population. So just something to think about, and yeah. But just to conclude things, if you still have any doubts, if you're wondering, but how can I believe that my pain is just TMS? How can I believe that as from tomorrow I can be totally pain-free? How is that even possible if I can't conceive it, if I'm still scared of the pain? And one of the things I always say is always start by making a case for TMS. And you make a case for TMS by, first of all, excluding serious conditions, checking that there is nothing that requires urgent surgery, for example, okay? While at the same time being careful at what doctors and specialists actually are blaming your pain on. Remember, a structural abnormality or degeneration is not usually to blame for pain. And then there are other ways of making a case for TMS, for example, based on the location of the symptoms, the fact that they might move around or change in intensity, the fact that you might have multiple symptoms. And there are various TMS questionnaires to help you with this, to help you make a case. And there's one also on my website, www.painoutsidethebox.com. I'll post the link in the description. So as much as possible, you need to make a case for the fact that you've got TMS. And most people who talk to me actually know this already. So they know that logically it makes sense that it's TMS, otherwise their pain doesn't make any structural sense. After that, it's about identifying all those thoughts and behaviors that are actually increasing one's doubt in the diagnosis. So all of the instances where we wonder yet again whether there's something structurally wrong, all of those instances where we behave as if there was something structurally wrong, such as trying to protect our back when we know, or we should know, that there's nothing wrong with it, but we're super extra careful, we're super hyper vigilant, we are rubbing and massaging the area as if it was the weakest link in our body. This behavior contradicts the belief in TMS, because what you're doing when you're behaving in this way is telling your brain that your back or whatever part of the body is weak or potentially susceptible to danger, to harm. So each time you are doubting whether your body can actually take it, each time you're thinking, oh, maybe I've overdone it, each time you are assuming that your back, your neck, whatever, is prone to damage, you are going against the TMS approach. You are eroding at your belief that you can get better, that there's nothing structurally wrong. So it's all about identifying these thoughts and behaviors that contradict the TMS approach. And at the end of the day, deciding to assume that, yeah, what if there's nothing wrong? What if I can be okay tomorrow? And that is the hardest part, because when you have pain, it's difficult, I admit, to indulge and believe in these thoughts. But I just encourage you, if you've tried everything, why not assume for the next weeks, why not assume that you can get better, for as long as you don't blame your pain on a structural cause. So just watch out for your thoughts, for those thoughts that blame your pain on something else, and just see what happens. Just be open to it. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. I think it's a lot to take in already. If you have any questions, any comments, just feel free to comment beneath the video. And that's it. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.